this one, which is number 5. I think we're doing 5, 12, 17, 19, and 20. So the first one here, if you go through your list, number 1, distributive property. No. Number 2, combine like terms. Well, there's nothing to combine on the left side. There's nothing to combine on the right side, so that's also a no. 3, check if there's variables on both sides, and there is. So I think I did this in class, but I'll do it again. And if we do that, we have a 4m and a 4m. They're both, coefficients are both 4. They're the same. They're both positive 4. So there's no smaller one in this case, right? They're both 4. So let's just get rid of this guy. If I do minus 4m on this side, I must do minus 4m on this side. This becomes 0. Negative 4 is the only thing left over on the left side. And 4m minus 4m is just 0. Notice that this statement here is a false statement. Negative 4 is definitely not equal to 0. So if you ever get to this, this will mean that there is no solution. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's go back to the original equation. This is 4m minus 4, and the other side is 4m. Notice that they're very similar. This 4m is the same as this 4m. Let me pick a number, and let's say m equals 5. So let's say m equals 5. So on the left side, if I were to substitute, I would get 4 times 5 minus 4. On the right side, I would do 4 times 5. Notice that the 4m on both sides, when I substitute with 5, they're both equal to 20. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 5 is 20 on this side. But on the left side, after I multiply 4 times 5, I have to subtract 4, which gives me 16. And 16 is definitely not equal to 20. So that doesn't work. But the point I'm trying to make is that it won't matter what I say m equals to. So let's say m equals 10, right? Or any other number that you can pick, and you guys can pick and try a different number. So notice that for the left side, I'm going to multiply 4 times 10 and then subtract 4. But on the right side, I'm just going to stop at 4 times 10. So on the right side, it's going to be 4 times 10, which is 40. On the left side, it's going to be 4 times 10, which is also 40, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to subtract 4. So that's going to give me 36, which again is not equal to the right side. So although they're both 4m on the left side and the right side, on the left side, after I multiply 4 times whatever m is, I'm always going to subtract 4. So there's no way that will ever equal to the right side. Right now, if it was 4m equals 4m, so in this case, no solution, right? No solution. But if it was 4m equals 4m, then in this case here, whatever you choose for m, you can pick any number for m. Let's say m equals 7. Well, on the left side, it's going to be 4 times 7. On the right side, it's going to be 4 times 7. So that's going to work. If m equals 12, well, let me put it this way. It's going to be 4 times 12 on the left side, and on the right side would be also 4 times 12. So they will always be the same for whatever m value that we want to choose. So in this case, it would be every single number in the world would make that equation true, because it doesn't matter, right? Because you're doing the exact same thing on the left side and the right side. But over here, although it looks the same, on the left side, after you multiply the m times 4, you have to subtract 4. So the left side will always be 4 less, okay? And it's never going to equal the right side. Okay, so for number 5, the answer is no solution. Number 12, I believe. 12, 17, 19, 20. Okay, got it. So number 12, let's write that down. Negative, parentheses 7 minus 4x equals 9. I would suggest that for this problem, you would put a 1 over here, just to make it easier. It is easier to see. So we have to do distributive property. So remember, the first thing we do is distributive property. Negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 7. So negative 1 times positive 7 is negative 7. And then negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4x equals 9. Distributive property is done. Number 2 says, please combine like terms. Can I combine negative 7 and 4x? I cannot. And on the right side, 9 is by itself, so there's nothing to combine. 3. Check for variables. Is there a variable on the left side? Yes, the x here. Is there a variable on the right side? No. So I don't have to eliminate one of the variables because there's only one of them and it's on the left side. So 4, now we begin solving our equation, right? We simplified it as best as we could, and now we can start solving it by using inverse operations. So, little story. Here's my variable x is being multiplied by 4, and then subtract 7 gives me 9. So the two inverse operations I'm going to use is going to be plus 7 and then divided by 4, and that should give us the value of x. Remember, I'm trying to figure out what value of x, what number can I multiply by 4, add negative 7 to equals 9. That's what we're looking for. So, step 1, we're going to do the opposite of minus 7, which is plus 7, and I'm going to do plus 7 on this side. Put a little wall here. These two go away, right? Become 0. 4x is the only thing left over, and 9 plus 7 is 16. Done. Second inverse operation I'm going to do is to divide by 4. Divide by 4 here, divide by 4 here. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times x is just x, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So apparently my answer is 4. But like I said, we have to check. So let's go back to our equation. So it's negative, I'll put the 1 over here. 7 minus 4. Instead of x, I'm going to put this number over here, 4. And that should equal 9. Let's see if that's true. On the right side, there's nothing to do, but on the left side, let's take care of inside the parentheses. So inside the parentheses, we have 7 minus 4 times 4 is 16. Let's continue working inside the parentheses. And inside the parentheses, 7 minus 16 is negative 9. And then the last thing we do, well, it's a negative 1 times negative 9, and negative times a negative is a positive, and look at that. Left side equals right side, so our answer that x equals 4 was correct. Okay, number 17, negative 1, sorry, let me copy this, negative parentheses 1 plus 7x minus 6 times negative 7 minus x equals 36. Okay, go through the order. Number 1, do the distributive property, and there is 2 of them. Well, there's no number, there's no factor out here. Well, it's not that there isn't, it's invisible, so let's just put a 1 over here. So these two multiply, and then negative 6 and negative 7 will multiply, and negative 6 and negative x will multiply. And that's where the distributive property is going to happen, and that's going to eliminate our parentheses. So let's start with this. So negative 1 times positive 1, so that's going to give me negative 1. Negative 1 times positive 7 is negative 7x. And then here, remember I told you this is a negative 6, so negative 6 times negative 7 is plus 42. And negative 6 times negative x is positive 6x, because a negative times a negative is a positive, equals 36. Number 1, distributive property, check. Number 2, combine like terms. Can I combine like terms? Yes, I can. Well, nothing on this side, 36, there's nothing to combine, but on the left side, well, negative 1 and positive 42 can be combined. So if you put that in your calculator, it's going to come out to 41 positive. And then negative 7 and positive 6x is going to give you, if you combine negative 7 and positive 6, it's going to give you negative 1 and negative 1x. So that's the equation we work with. I know you don't have to write the 1, but in this case, it's probably easier to understand because that's going to be a negative x, and we have to change. So our equation at the end of the day, it's going to look like this. Right? We're going to simplify it. So where x is isolated, the 41 is going to disappear, and that negative 1 is going to disappear. So that's what we're looking for right now. So if you make this little story, which comes in handy, we have a variable called x. It's being multiplied by negative 1 and then added to 41. Remember that 41 is positive. Somehow you get 36. Going backwards, the inverse operation we're going to use is minus 41 and then divide by negative 1. So let's see if that works out. Line in the middle, dividing our equation into 2 parts. First thing, minus 41, and notice that if I do 41 minus 41, it becomes 0 and they disappear. And the only thing I have left over is negative 1x. Which equals 36. We're not there yet because that's a negative x. I want to change that to positive x. And how is that going to happen? Well, it says here we should divide both sides by negative 1. So divide this by negative 1, divide this by negative Negative divided by negative is a positive, and 1 divided by 1 is just 1x, 1 positive x. And 36 divided by negative 1, positive divided by negative is a negative, and 36 divided by 1 is 36. So x equals negative 36. Now we have to do our check. Let me erase this. So just keep in mind that the answer is negative 36. So I'm going to rewrite the original equation, and everywhere I see x, I'm going to replace it with negative 36. So negative 1 plus 7 times negative 36, which I'm going to put in parentheses, minus 6 times negative 7 minus negative 36. And all that should give me 36. Let me highlight where I substitute. So this is where I replace the x with negative 36, and here's where I place the x with negative 36. Order of operations, please. On the left side, right side, we don't have to do anything, so I'm just going to write that. On the left side, let's take care of this guy first. So here's my minus sign outside. And let's multiply 7 times negative 36. Ugh. If I multiply that, 7 times 36, I'm going to get 252. So I get 1 plus negative 252. And then on the other parentheses, I'm going to get negative 6 and negative 7. So now I'm going to do, now if you put that in your calculator, it's becoming negative 7. This actually becomes, if you change it to addition, negative 7 stays, subtraction becomes addition. The additive inverse of negative 36 is 36, and that's what you get. You didn't have to do it. I'm just putting it out there. So again, let's simplify. So negative 1. 1 plus negative 52 is negative 251. Minus 6 times negative 7 plus 36 equals negative 29. Negative, so here, final last negative, there's 1 here, remember, negative times a negative is a positive, you get 251. And then negative 6 times negative 29 is 174. Ew, did I make a mistake somewhere? I think I did, because this is not going to work. Alright, so let me step back, sorry. Yeah, I made a mistake somewhere because that's not going to work. So let me go back to that. Negative 1 plus, so that's, did I copy this right? What number is this? 17. Negative 1 plus 7x minus 6, parentheses negative 7 minus x equals 36, okay? Plus 42 plus 6x, combined, that's negative 1, combined, it's 41 equals 36. Oh, and here's my mistake, ladies and gentlemen. So on this stuff, I was actually okay up to this point. Minus 41, and I forgot to do the minus 41 on this side. That was my mistake. So those 41 goes away, because 41 minus 41 is 0. Minus 1x comes down. And 36 minus 41 is negative 5. I completely forgot about that. Well, continuing, now I have to divide this side by negative 1 and this side by negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1, so it gives me x. And then negative 5 divided by negative 1 is just positive 5. So x equals 5. So hence the reason we do the check, because as you can tell, mistakes do happen. So x equals 5, let's keep that in mind. And let's replace, so again, let me go back, negative 1 times, actually there is no, let me just copy as it is. The original was negative, parentheses, negative, minus parentheses, 1 plus 7 times 5, minus 6, parentheses, negative 7 minus 5 equals 36. So let me again highlight wherever I put, replace the x with 5, I'm going to highlight. Let's see if I did this correctly now. So it should give me 36. Inside this parenthesis, 7 times 5 is 35, plus 1, 36. So I end up getting negative 36. Minus, and on this side, it's negative 6, and then inside the parentheses, negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12. Let's continue this. So I get negative 36. And then if you multiply these two, it's a negative times a negative, which gives me positive 72. And then negative 36 plus positive 72 is 36, which equals the 36 on the other side. So now I know I'm correct. Apologies. Um, 19. Oof. You know, I don't know where my glasses are. It becomes very hard to see. So 19, I'll do it over here. 24a minus 22 equals negative 4, 1 minus 6a. Distributive property, yes, it's right here, so we have to take care of that. 24a minus 22 is just going to hang out for a little bit. Negative 4 times positive 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times positive 6, sorry, negative 6 is going to be positive 24a. Hopefully you realize something here. Notice that 24a and 24a is exactly the same. But on the left side, I'm subtracting 22. On the left side I'm subtracting 22. On the right side, I'm subtracting 4. So although these are the same, right? So imagine I gave you 10 bucks. I gave you $10. For the group on the left side, you're going to multiply 24 times 10. You're going to get 240. And then you're going to subtract 22. For the group on the right side, you're going to multiply 24 times 10, which is going to be 240. And that's going to be, and then you're going to take $4 away. So will that ever be the same? No, because on the on the left side, the group on the left side, they're going to be 22 less. And then on the right side, it's going to be only 4 less. So they're never, ever going to be the same. So this is a no solution problem. But let me just take a step here. And then show the work here. So we did the distributive property. Can we combine like terms? We can't because they're different. But now I have 24a and 24a here. So one of the 24s have to go. So let's, because they're the same, doesn't matter. Let's get rid of the 24 on a on the left. So I'm going to do minus 24a. And I'm going to do minus 24a over here. Notice that the 24 and 24a are additive inverse. They're opposite. So this will become 0. This will negative 22 is the only thing left over. This will also become 0, and negative 4 is going to be left over. So notice that negative 22 is not equal to negative 24, so that's telling you that this particular problem has no solution. There's not even a need for a check. Okay, but you have to come all the way here. All right, that made life simple. 20, negative 5 times 1 minus 5x plus 5 times negative 8x minus 2 equals negative 4x minus 8x. So this one has everything. Number 1, distributive property, plenty. It's going to happen here, and it's going to happen here. So let's take care of that. So that's going to give us negative 5 plus 25x, because they're both negatives. Positive 5 and negative 8 is negative 40x. And then positive 5 and negative 2 is going to be negative 10. Equals negative 4x minus 8x. 2, combine like terms. Let's make this whole equation a little smaller. It's way too big. Start on this side. Negative 4x minus 8x can be combined and just gives me negative 12x. On this side, I'm going to circle. Negative 5 and negative 10 can be combined, and we're going to get negative 15. Positive 25x and negative 40x can be combined, and that's going to give us negative 15x. Okay. 3. Check if there are variables on both sides. There are. I have a negative 15x here and a negative 12x. One of them have to go. Which one is further left on the number line? Negative 15x. So that's what we're going to get rid of. How do I make that equal to 0? Well, if I add 15x, look, they become 0. So let me add 15x to the right side as well. This goes away because it's 0. Negative 15 comes down. And negative 12 plus 15 is just 3x. Now, I have a variable called x. It's being multiplied by 3. And it's going to result in negative 15. So the inverse operation I'm going to use to have x all by itself is to divide both sides by 3. So let me do that. So divide this guy by 3, this guy, divide this guy by 3. 3 divided by 3 is just 1x, or just x, and negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. There. X equals negative 5. So we gotta just make sure that it's actually true. So that's the solve part. Let's do the check part. So everywhere you see an x on the original equation, I want you to replace it with negative 5. I'll do that. I know it's painful, but you gotta do it. So let's start on the left side. So negative 4 times negative 5, right? I'm replacing that x with negative 5 minus 8 times negative 5. I'm going to highlight that in a second. Negative 5, 1 minus 5 times negative 5, close parentheses, plus 5 times negative 8 times negative 5, minus 2, close parentheses. Okay, there's a lot to do here. So place where I replace the x with negative 5. There, there, and there. Let's do the right side because it's easier. Negative 4 and negative 5 is positive 20. Negative 8 times, remember there's a time here, negative 8 times negative 5 is positive 40. So all that equals to 60. So I hope to God that the left side is also equal to 60. I'm going to do it in steps. Okay, I don't know how many lines I'm going to need, but negative 5, let's do inside the parentheses. So I have a multiplication here, so that's equal to 1, and then that's a negative 5, by the way. So negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Plus 5 times, and let's do inside the parentheses, I got negative 8 times negative 5, which is 40, and then I'm going to have to subtract 2. Next line. Let's just take care. 1 times 5 is, 1 plus 5 is 26. Oh, you know what? I'll do in steps. 26. Plus 5 times, and we're going to do 5 times 40 minus 2 is 38. And hopefully that gives us 60. Hopefully. So 5 times 26 is going to be, well, it's negative because it's negative times the positive. So negative 130. Plus 5 times 38, which is going to be 190. Right? And if you do negative 130 plus positive 190, you indeed get 60, which equals 60 on the other side. That would be the correct answer. So this is a little bit too much. I don't think you're going to see something that size on your quiz, but if you can do this, the other ones will be really, really easy.